Yo. Um, yeah, here we are. Patreon stream. I know many of you probably can't be there for the actual stream because time zones. It's only 10 a.m. here, and in most of the US it's like, well, on the West Coast it's like 7 a.m. So, yeah, but I'll definitely keep this stream up, and you can watch it later. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for supporting on my Patreon. Like, you don't even know how much it means to me and how much it helped me pay all the bills I had to pay, especially like when I first moved to America. I had to pay everything because I still had to pay off my visa. I didn't get any income from shows at all, so yeah, I had to pay all my bills, like rent and everything, from the money I got from Patreon. So I wouldn't have survived without it. So yeah, thank you guys, it means a lot. So I was thinking I'm gonna answer your questions that you asked on the post, and yeah, I have them here. And you can also ask more questions in the chat if you're here, and say hi in the chat also if you're here, even if you don't have questions, just so it's not so quiet. Okay, so let's start with the first one by Patient Zero, which is from a post that I made a while ago on my Patreon. It was go over post-processing for minimal styles. So for minimal styles, because you don't have a lot of elements, you need to kind of like fill up the space, the empty space that you have. So you need to put a lot of like very subtle effects to kind of fill up the empty space. So what I like to do is to use like subtle reverbs, like long reverbs with a low cut at like 500 hertz that are really subtle, just to like, yeah, fill up the empty space, make it feel, it's very subtle, but it really makes a difference. It feels more like it's not completely empty. And then sub bass also makes a big difference. If you have like a very short LFO on your synths that and a lot of empty space, then having a sub that goes like, that's very short as well, and kind of makes it feel empty. So you'd put a sub that is like more full and longer than the synth, and you could use, for example, an 808, or just keep it going the whole time and only like how do I describe this? Let it, like, for example, you have a synth that goes like wow, and then instead of making the sub go like wow as well, you would make it go like wow, and that way you fill up some empty space with sub bass, and it really helps and it makes a difference. But then obviously you also need to definitely sidechain your kicks with your sub bass, because otherwise you're gonna get some clashing. But yeah, other than that, delays also make a difference. Just a lot of subtle effects. And then what I also do a lot is to put a very tight reverb in addition to the longer one that fills up the space, just to make everything sound a bit more stereo. I don't like it too stereo because then it kind of sounds weird in my ears. So I just make it a little bit stereo because it sounds nicer that way. Yeah. Then let's see here. I hope the stream is working because I have it set to unlisted. So I need to check the comments real quick here on Patreon. Ah, there we go. Martin can't go on the stream. See if I can fix this. I don't know how to share an unlisted stream. Just give me a second here. Okay, should work now. Is it working? If it works. Ah, yeah, okay. Now I can see you guys in the chat. Okay, so I guess let's start this over. Or I had to set it to public now because I don't know what else to do, to be honest. But yeah, I'm still gonna answer all your questions from Patreon. Of course, because that's what the stream is for. So I'm gonna start again by saying thank you guys so very much for supporting on Patreon, and you don't even know how much it means to me, because when I moved to America, I didn't have any income other than Patreon. I'm also gonna mute my phone because I had to pay off my visa, which was really expensive. And yeah, I just didn't expect to not be paid for so long, and having my Patreon as a backup was like really, really helpful, and I wouldn't know what I would have done otherwise. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. And even now, like, it helps so much with paying my bills because my income from music is just so inconsistent that it's really nice to have like a steady monthly income to pay rent and whatever. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the tracks that I send you every month, and the feedback that I give. And yeah, I try to reply as much as I can to all your messages. So yeah, I hope you're happy with that. And I've done some tutoring sessions as well, which were really nice. I think they went really well, and yeah. So I was thinking that I should go over some of your questions that you posted on the post, and I saw that there were some new ones just now as well, from Martin Rovers, for example, who is in the chat as well, Excentra. What kind of sound design do you use most frequently? So you mean like synthesis types, or the way I post-process my sounds? Because, so usually, the way I work is I start with something like Serum, but I make a really basic sound, so let's say like just a square wave, and put some LFO on it, pitch it down a bit, and like play around with it a little bit, but I don't do too much within Serum, and that's something that I think people need to stop like thinking they can get an amazing sound out of Serum itself, because you can, but it's not going to be that unique. I always end up with kind of the same sounding sounds within Serum when I just use Serum, and I think the effects section on it is not that great either. Like, the effects just don't sound that great. So usually I have a really basic sound out of Serum, and then I put like tons of effects on it. Like, sometimes I would just go to the effects list in Ableton and see what I can try on the sound and just try it out, like experiment with different methods. Like, I would use vocoders, delays, try like really tight delays so that it sounds metallic. The Redux in Ableton is also really good, which is basically a bit crusher. Try saturators, phasers, just put a ton of stuff on it until it sounds sort of good, until I'm sort of happy with it, and then I would resample it and put it back in and like stretch it around. And that's, I think, one of the most fun parts, especially in Ableton, to stretch sounds, like time stretching, and work with all the different stretch modes you can use in Ableton as well. And yeah, so that's basically what I do, and then I slap some more effects on it, and then some more effects, and maybe some more effects. Martin also asked, have you ever heard of Ubic G, and if so, do you use it a lot? I have heard of it. I used to have it back when I was still using cracked software, but now, well, my goal from when I started making music was to eventually, when I make money with music, to eventually buy all the software that I use. And so I ended up switching to that, and I ended up buying Ableton, FL Studio, Reason, and like all the plugins that I use. Over time, I didn't buy them all at once, obviously, but yeah, so I just haven't seen Ubic G as one of the plugins that I wanted to invest in yet, but I think it was a great plugin, and yeah, it was a nice plugin for, I think it was the pitching one, right? It had some really cool sounds to it, and I definitely used it in a bunch of tracks back in the days. Maybe I'll try it again someday, but I don't even know how much it is. I think these plugins are pretty expensive. INFEKT, not INFEKT. Lucas is asking, what is your opinion on the... That is really great. I really like it. Have you ever used the patcher in FL Studio, the interface to implement multiple effects and synths in one window? Yes, I have. I like it for like parallel processing, when you want to like put multiple effects on top of each other and like in a parallel way. So like you could have the original sound and also have this sound routed through a vocodex and then put them back together, and yeah, it gives you a really nice effect because vocodex takes away a lot of the frequencies, and you can like bring them back in from the original sound. Let's see what else was there on the Patreon questions. Patient Zero asked if I can go over post-processing for minimal styles. So, since you're gonna have a lot of empty space in your tracks when you make rhythm, because it's a minimalistic genre, you have to find ways to kind of fill it up in a way that it doesn't sound crowded. So you kind of put, so there are like some methods that I use to do that, which is, for example, subtle subtle reverbs, like very quiet reverbs on the synth or on the claps that fill up this space. Subtle delays as well. Subtle delays especially really make a difference. What else? Some really tight delays as well. I mean, especially those like reverbs and delays really make a difference. And then also your sub basses, like let's say you have a synth that goes like wow, and it's really short, and then you have a sub that goes wow with it, then you're gonna have a lot of empty space. But if instead of the sub just having that one hit, you let it go like wow, you know what I mean? Like kind of to fill up the empty space a bit, and it really makes a big difference as well. But then because you have the sub playing so long, you also have to definitely sidechain your kicks with it so that they don't clash. Let's see, what else do we have? Must-haves for FL Studio as a beginner, I guess. So I think people also need to stop thinking that they need, well, when we produce, we can't think that it's a very bad attitude to always think that you need more stuff. And we all have this. I have this myself as well, that I want this plugin and that plugin, and I'm thinking if I don't have this plugin, I can't make good sounds or whatever. But it's not true. You can like FL Studio especially has a lot of really great effects that come with it. Like the reverb sounds amazing, the delays are great, the vocodec's an amazing plugin. And yeah, FL Studio in general has some really nice plugins that are already integrated, and synthesizers as well, like Harmor is really amazing. And yeah, I mean, Serum is cheap to get because you can go on Splice and pay like, I don't even know, 10 or 15 bucks a month. And yeah, I think you can do a lot just with the things that are already integrated. Same thing for Ableton, like it already has so many effects that I think people kind of forget about them because they think they need to spend a lot of money on other plugins. But I use a lot of stock plugins myself. Let's see in the chat. Gabrielle says, did you answer my questions from Patreon yet? Got here a little late. Let me see, which ones were your questions? Did you ask them on the post that I made? And then Excentra is asking, also I was wondering maybe if you have time at Rampage, if it's possible to come and say hello to you. It's gonna be my first Rampage, so I'm really pumped you're playing. I'm pumped as well, and I don't really know how it's gonna go, like time-wise, like when I'm arriving, how much time I'm gonna be spending there and stuff, and especially because there are so many people, how hard it's gonna be to contact you. But I guess if you leave me your phone number or like your iMessage or whatever, I can try. We can try to get in touch and see if we can meet up. And my stream volume is very low, says Kita. Is that true? I have the input set to like 100% volume. I could set the microphone a little louder, I guess. Let me know if anyone else has this issue. Gabriel, I'll check the comments now. Yeah, I answered the one about the must-haves. Um, like I said, I think you can do a lot with just the integrated um, plugins that come with FL Studio. It's quite quiet. Um, I guess I could turn up the microphone a bit. Is it better now? It's pretty hard to understand what I'm saying. I can get a bit closer to the microphone as well, if that helps. Okay, then another question Gabriel asked is, who is the most underrated artist in the game right now? Chamber. I love his music. He makes amazing, like, old school rhythm stuff. And there are a bunch of other artists as well. I don't really know what you would classify as underrated though, like in terms of them not being mainstream or them like not being on the same level as other like rhythm artists. But yeah, if I just go on my SoundCloud now and I check like artists whose SoundCloud tracks I liked recently, and I can share this screen with you also. Here, let's see in my likes. Chamba, of course. Trendcast is really sick. He makes really good tracks. Skyrene from my Patreon. Some quality stuff. Some good sound design and really nice drums as well. Really punchy. Psycho is pretty good. He makes also like some very old school rhythm stuff. Lower dubs, of course. I like a lot of deep stuff as well, so I listen to the Inner Mind podcast sometimes and like Crucial Recordings and all that. I mean, all these like deep dubstep people are really underrated because deep dubstep in general is really small, but I wish it was bigger because they make the most amazing music. Like Tar as well, he used to make rhythm and now he makes like deeper stuff, and it's crazy. Then Jub Dubs, he's like his new tracks, I don't know, like he was gone for a while and then now he makes all these like insane bangers, like quality wise it's just his new EP on Bewildered, holy. Stardy makes some cool tracks. Stardie makes some cool tracks. Rez obviously really heavy and old school stuff. And then I also listen to a lot of stuff from different genres, like Weird Inside is like some more emotional stuff. Curtis Heron is like trappy, and the Concept Collective is all deep. And yeah, just if you want to hear any of those, just go to my SoundCloud, click on the tracks that I liked, and check them out. There's some trap in there, a lot of rhythm. I use SoundCloud a lot to find new music. Okay. Ardix, yeah, I like his stuff. I haven't heard too much of it. There's this dude called Excentra, who's really underrated. You should totally check him out. It says Excentra. But yeah, I was excited to see the EP from Jub on Bewildered as well. And Martin send me links on Patreon. And everyone else, go check Excentra. And yeah, let's see, was there other stuff? I'll go back to this. I'll go back to the questions. I think I went through all of them. Also, Gabrielle asked, any plans on coming to Washington or Oregon? Need to show my girl what a rhythm show is like. I don't have any lined up right now, but I would love to in the future. I'm hoping to do another tour soonish, and yeah, if I can get a show in Washington on it, I would definitely be down. How do we message on Patreon? So my Patreon is a platform where you guys can subscribe, and it's like you pay $10 for one track per month, so I send like one track that is only ever gonna be released to Patreons, and for $20 you get 2 tracks and also feedback on your own tracks, and on 2 tracks for $20, and for $30 you can get 2 tracks and unlimited feedback on your tracks, and I try to reply as much as I can. So on there I asked people to ask me questions that I replied to in this stream, and that's where the questions are coming from, in case you're wondering. That's just because I had to make the stream public. I don't even know if there's anyone right now that's not on Patreon. But yeah, I had to make the stream public because people weren't able to join. But I think it's still nice because I'm still answering the questions from Patreon and prioritizing those. So I hope you're not upset about it. How do you go on finding usable vocals for in your tunes that aren't attached to copyright? Like for example in Rewind that you sent us this month, those kind of vocals. I have Splice, and I search for samples on Splice sometimes. And yeah, that's where I found the wheel sample, I guess. So I went like on Splice, and I looked for, let's say like, I don't even know what I was searching for, but I'm just gonna type Rewind, or like
Rewind Selector.
That's a decent sample, I guess, and then you can like cut out the rewind part and use it in your track, or like maybe I can find the wheel one. No, I can't. Not like that. And then you can like select the categories up here. So if you're only looking for vocals,
wheel it up.
I mean, this is an amazing sample, honestly.
Wheel it up.
Wheel it up. Wheel it up.
Wheel it up and come again.
Wheel it up.
I might use this one, to be honest.
Wheel it up.
And then there was one that said burn them all. Burn, that sounded really good.
Burn them down.
This
Burn
one.
them down.
You will all burn.
Burn them down.
Burn, baby.
I don't know, whatever. But yeah, this is how I find most of my vocals, by just looking for random stuff and then processing it. Martin has like 1,000 credits left on Splice because like they give you 100 credits a month, and then you don't really like download 100 credits every month, 100 sounds every month. I have the same thing, like they just collect dust. But a really nice thing to do is to go on Splice, and then like when you have a lot of credits to spend, you go on Splice. The website is splice.com. You go on Splice and you find like a pack that you like. Like let's say you want to make like lo-fi stuff, or you like a lot of sounds from like a house pack. Like let's say, or maybe like something experimental. I don't know what this is, rare rhythm boxes. And then you can download the entire pack here. And you spend like 250 credits, but you get like a ton of sounds that you can use. And which I'm not gonna do now because I haven't even heard this pack yet. Yeah, I'm definitely not spending 200 credits on this one. So yeah, that's another way to spend your credits. And I still have 402 now because I recently bought a pack for like 230 credits. But yeah. $600 credits per month. That's crazy. That's how much is that? You can change it here, I think. 21. Okay, I pay 8 per month, and 600 would be 22 a month. But you can get so many samples from that. Like, even if you have 2,000 credits, I could easily spend them just by getting a bunch of packs. But yeah, so what else? What other questions do we have? I think I went through all of them. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, Splice is definitely worth subscribing to. I used to, like, before Splice was a thing, and before I used it, I used to go, like, looking for free sample packs, and it was always a pain. And then sometimes I would spend like $30 on a sample pack, but like I didn't really know if I would like it because all they had was like a weird preview of their sounds, but you couldn't really like listen to the actual sounds. And now I just go on Splice, and like if I just need one specific sample, I can just get one specific sample. And yeah, it's really easy. It's nice as well for like when you make YouTube videos and you can just look for sound effects or whatever you need. And for my vlogs as well, like I downloaded a lo-fi hip-hop sample pack, and it has a bunch of loops, so I just when I need a song for my vlogs, I stick the loops together and I have a nice little song for my like scenes for the cinematic like things and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really cool. And you can customize them as well. Like if you need a sequence with no drums on it, then you can just put the loop in there. And yeah, it's really nice and handy. What else? What happens with like 2-minute tracks on SoundCloud, like the ones with a single drop only? Will they ever get finished, or are you releasing them somewhere? Like let's say Lucid. So whenever I finish a track, sometimes when I want to show it right away, I upload a clip of it on my SoundCloud. It doesn't mean the track isn't finished. I just upload only a clip of it so that it's still something nice when I actually release the full track on a label and you can hear the whole track for the first time. And yeah, that's basically it. It's just like, see it as a preview of the full track. And Finley said he messaged me on Patreon, so I'll go check that. Let's see. Did you drop it as a comment or send a message? Ah, here it is. I'd love some feedback on this track with Huke, if you can do some. I can give some feedback on the stream. Let's do that. Let's have a listen. And if anyone else from Patreon wants to send me links for feedback on the stream, we can do that as well.
I just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's gonna help. I mean, that's the thing that scares me most.
I don't know.
This is really sick. Like, this is actually well produced. I just the one thing that I noticed is that I would put a more punchy kick on it, but other than that, I don't even have much to say, honestly. Like, that switch as well, really sick, and the flow is really nice. It's really creative, and I'm curious about your other tracks. 7N is your alias.
All systems go.
Nice and metallic. Unreleased stuff is better. Like, which one? I'm not saying unreleased stuff is better. That's what he said in the chat. I don't really mind if it's unreleased or not. Play Zehisa. Zenheisa. Nice flow. I can definitely tell that there's some like metallic delays on those. Yeah, that's nice, man. I would definitely make the drums stand out more on that. In general, like, more punchy drums, it really makes a difference. Like, For example, if you work with Ableton, what I personally like to do is when a kick is not as heavy as I would like it, the drum bus in Ableton 10 has some really sick features. I'll show you that. September 2017, that's crazy. That's like 1.5 years. That's some really sick stuff for 1.5 years. I've been producing for like over 7 years now. I actually started in 2011, so almost 8 years. So that's fine. I know that there are some kicks, like for example in this. This is a lo-fi kit. Wait, we don't have sound. Let's say this one. I should probably put it in a drum rack. Just so we have some MIDI notes. Go back to that. The kick is called Lord's Will. Okay. So not so fast. I should do it like this. Okay, so drum bus in Ableton 10. You have these controls, and you have the transients and the boom that make a difference. And boom basically adds like sort of a sub to your kick, so it layers it with a sound, with like a sine wave of a certain frequency. And if you know the key of the kick, you can tune it to the key of the kick, but I don't because it doesn't say which key. So see, it kind of makes it sound a bit fatter. And without it, it sounds like that. And then if we add some transient, it already sounds. Oh, you can't hear it. Why did no one tell me this before? Okay. Why not though? That is strange. My settings should be right. Very, very heavy kick. Very silent. But I have it set to the same audio output as my normal. And that's how I streamed last time. I'm out of ideas. I can hear it. My settings here should be alright. Soundflower. Okay, then let's save this as kick and open it again. Does the internal sound in general still work? No, it doesn't. It fooled me. Did you even hear the sound from the track when I played it earlier? I'll try to fix it. Whoops. First time, yes, you could hear the tracks. So then, why can't you hear them now? This thing doesn't say anything. Why does this always happen to me? Ah, here we go. It was just because of the streaming software somehow, like something wasn't... It wasn't my fault. It wasn't the settings. It was just... I don't know. So yeah, that's a pretty fat kick, I would say. And if I turn the drum bus off now, it's a pretty crazy. Yeah. And you can do similar things in FL Studio. You don't have the drum bus, but you can use like limiters and the maximizer, I guess, to bring out the kick some more. I wouldn't know how to add the frequency like in the drum bus, but I guess you could sort of do it yourself with a synthesizer to like make a sine wave and layer it with your kick. So like layer a sub with your kick in that way to make the kick more punchy. Yeah. Oh, I also have prepared this really sick break screen on OBS now whenever I go to the bathroom, and I'm gonna show you a demo of this right now. Should we use this time to make some music, or what would you like to see? Especially the people from Patreon, since this is a Patreon stream. Any suggestions? Anything you would enjoy to see? Would you like to see me fingerboard or dance? Or I can dance my name maybe, or I don't know, make some music. That's always something I enjoy to do. We could do some sound designing. I could also sound design session. Yeah, that's good. We can do that. I'll keep this kick and I'll put a clap on top of it. Since we talked about splice earlier, I'm gonna find a clap on splice. Just to have like a basic idea of a rhythm that I'm gonna put the synths on top. Wiggum says make music or check the tune I sent you. Where did you send it? On Patreon or Messenger? Could I break down some of your projects, of my projects of released tracks? I guess I could do that. I just, I'm gonna do a bit of sound designing first, and then we can get to that later if more people are interested in that. Let's find some claps to layer together, maybe. This one sounds cool. I like techno claps a lot. How to make a perfect sandwich with INFEKT. We can actually make a sandwich. I have bread, I have tomatoes, I might have vegan like sausage slices. I have hummus. We can make a sandwich later. So let's do a sound design session, and we can look at a project file, and then we make a sandwich. How does that sound? Oh, this one sounds sweet. On Patreon, says Wiggum. So the new schedule is sound design, then we check the new, we should actually make a list. So here, Patreon stream, checklist, sound design, check Wiggum track, go through finished project, and then make sandwich. And check Martin's track as well, so I'll put after check Wiggum track, check Excentra track. Cool. Let's do that. So let's continue with making a track. I like this one. This has some nice mids to it, so if we layer some of those, I'm probably not gonna layer all of them. That's gonna sound strange. Oh. I actually like it just like that. Now I have to figure out how to group them again. I kind of forgot. I think you have to do this. Create chain or group? Group. There we go. That was easy. Just so I can process them together. So I want to put a drum bus. Oh, it sounds so crunchy because of this drum bus. I should put that on the kick only. Why did this turn into like in MIDI notes now? I think there was a way to switch it back to drum mode, but I forgot. That's nice. Let's find some hats as well. Hat. This one is simple. Maybe something that sounds a bit more real. This one is good. Let's make it a bit longer. And then do the classic INFEKT. It's not really an INFEKT thing, but I do this a lot. Like moving this kick over to there. Then a reverb. Something about this reverb that is important is to change the quality to high instead of echo. It makes it sound like a million times better. The headphones that I use are Sony WH-1000XM3 noise cancelling headphones. They're really good, especially when you work in noisy environments a lot. Listen to the difference. Sounds so much better. Okay, there we go. Let's also make this mono because I think some of those claps are kind of wide. By the way, is the balance between microphone and sound from Ableton good? Like the volume balance? It's also clipping. Let's turn it down. Mic could be a tad louder still. Okay, I'll turn it up. Is it better? Because I was listening back to what I was recording last time, and it sounded kind of weird. It sounded like my microphone was like doubled somehow. I don't know, I'm using my iPhone as a microphone. My old iPhone. Much better, okay. Alright. Then let's do, oh, something really amazing that Virtual Riot showed me is in Reactor a thing called Form, which is a synthesizer. Looks like this. It's sample based, so you can drag whatever sample you want in it. And I have some old synths here. This is, by the way, how I made the Orgelorg synth. I took an old synth from an old project and I put it into a new project and put some more effects on it. But, yeah. What's this? That sounds... there must be, like, whenever you freeze something in Ableton, it's being rendered as a file called freeze. So I freeze a lot of synths, so I could just go and search for freeze. Is this working or not? Ah, here we go. And go through some of my old synths here, sorted by the date it was modified. This. I could use the one, this one. I made that in another stream on YouTube, I believe. So I'm just gonna take it and drag it in here. Load sample. And then delete this. Create a MIDI track for it. And then let's see. Oops. We need to make this a bit louder, I guess. Even louder. Utility. So already, like, something nice here would be to pitch it down like that, the automation. sounds great on sub right now. Yeah, it does. So the nice thing about this plugin is you can like loop only a certain section of it. You could like loop a really small section like this. And you can even like go through it manually. I guess in this case I can kind of just keep it steady. Imagine a vocoder would sound good on this. We also need an LFO, I guess. Yeah. It sounds nice to play with the different ones. Sometimes on specific sounds it sounds better with more, and sometimes with less band. The sub is definitely cool. I kind of don't want to have it go as high the pitch. Let's play with that a bit. Something something in Russian. Go hard bass? Yeah, let's make hard bass. I don't even know how to make hard bass. I guess all we need is a saturator on the kicks. Turn it up all the way. And then make them twice as fast. And then also turn up the speed to like 300 BPM. Okay, now I need to go to the bathroom so I actually get to use my break scene. I'll see you in 1 minute. Hello again. Let's drink some water. And continue this thing. Why do I always make triplets? Recently. let's use that reverb technique that I was talking about earlier. So the more I turn it up, let me actually low cut it first. Now the more I turn it up, the more it gets, the sound sounds stereo. I don't want it as much stereo. So it's very subtle, but it has a nice effect to make it sound a little bit wider. And then also put another reverb that has a longer decay. To fill up some of that empty space. And then I need the sound to be a bit louder. Okay. Now let's see what else we can put on this. Maybe a phaser. Okay, now I need to turn it down again. This is clipping. And then sometimes what I like to do before I resample it is to go back into my synthesizer and just mess with the sound a little bit more. See how it sounds with all those effects on it. Hey, what's up, Evangelo? Just got home from work. So I will say to you as well, thank you very much for supporting on Patreon. I really appreciate it. And I hope my feedback helps you, and yeah, I like that you're being active on Patreon and sending me links to give you feedback on and stuff. That's awesome, and I can definitely see some progress with your tracks as well. Let's go back to making sounds. I kind of fully switched to Ableton. I still use Reason a lot, and I still use FL sometimes, but I use Ableton most of the time. It just has such a nice performance on my Mac, and the way you can process audio with it is so sick. Yeah. Yes, I will upload this video. I like how this sounds now. What do I like for distortion on Ableton? Saturator. And then I have this Isotope Trash plugin, which is cool for distortion. I can't decide which one I like most here. I think the 8-band. And yeah, Trash has some really nice convolution. I can put it on the sound and see how it sounds. Oi, System of Chaos. How have you been, man? Do I say your name Casimir? Casimir? In German, you would say it Casimir. How have you been, man? Can someone explain what a dynamic condenser and ribbon mic is? I assume it's either a different type of mic or like a different position of the mic. No, it's probably the type of mic. Okay, Dukaruni says dynamics are more broad scoped, ribbons are very tight scoped. Condenser is in the middle. Okay, so a ribbon mic would pick up only a very narrow sound, like a scope, I guess. And whereas a dynamic mic would pick up more. Okay, yeah, if I listen to the dynamic in comparison to the ribbon, the dynamic definitely sounds wider. Also, I can't feed clipping input signal into trash. In Ableton it doesn't matter, but for distortion especially, you can't send a signal that is already above 0 into it. So I have to turn it down before and then turn it back up after. Or another way that would be even better for turning stuff down so the master doesn't clip would be to just turn the elements themselves down. Onyx Princess Fox says, so is this one long note and the LFO automation is doing all the work? No, the sound that I've put into the synthesizer already had some volume modulation on it, so the LFO tool kind of shapes it a bit more, but it's not one long note without it. But yeah, this thing made everything to stereo. Casimir. How do they spell it in Dutch? Oh, Kas, like cheese. Kas is German. In German is, well, Käse is cheese in German. But in like dialect, you can say Kas as well, like with a certain German accent. Which is how they say it where I'm from. So, but yeah. Glad you're doing well anyways. Damn. Can I modulate this? Yes, I can. I love how this sounds now. I guess we could try delay again. Oops. Maybe for that, like I kind of want to go for like a filtered metallic sound. So I could like put it on 100% wet, link it pretty tight, Pro Q, and then filter it. I should probably put this before any reverbs. And I should also do the same thing with the phaser. Just because otherwise we're phasing the reverb as well. LFO tool is like $50, but it's worth it. Because you can use it for sidechaining as well, and it's a really nice method for sidechaining. Like, I can show you how to sidechain with it. It's really sick. So you would create, first of all, you put an LFO tool on your sound. Wait, I'll remove this again. Put an LFO tool on your sound. Then you draw in a curve for your sidechaining, and this is nice because you don't have to mess with like release and attack controls. So you can just draw in your curve, and that's kind of how you want the volume to go down when the kick hits. So every time the kick hits, it'll dip down like this. Then you set it to this, which is basically whenever this LFO tool receives a note, and this is the note from the kick, then it's gonna go through one time. So I'll use the kick from the drum rack that I had earlier and basically send it into the LFO tool. So I'll make a new MIDI track here, drum rack kick. The kick is here, and send it in. So I set it to monitoring in, and send it into the reactor LFO tool, this one. And now every time the kick plays, you can see that it's sending a signal here, and it's sending it into the LFO tool. So now every time the kick plays, it's going down. And what I usually do is use this, I create a return track and put a pro cue, create a chain, and create 2 chains. So it's being split into one, highs and mids, and secondly, sub bass, just so that I can control them separately. So this is just like counterparts. So one of the chains is just sub, which is this one, so I'll rename it to sub. The other one is mids and highs. And now I have to send my synth into that by using the send here, and then select sends only so that the sound isn't doubled, so that it only goes out through the return channel. And I'll call this bass processing channel. So yeah, now we should have sub and mids and highs split, and now instead of putting the LFO tool on the channel itself, I'll put it only on the sub. I'll put it before my EQ, just so in case there's any clicking from the LFO tool, this EQ will fix that. And now, instead of sending it, it automatically changed it to that bass processing LFO tool. So now only the sub is being affected, and I can also control the volume of the sub myself, well, separately from the synth. And if I want to, I can even compress the sub. So I can use a glue compressor on just the sub channel. I'll do this before the LFO tool as well. With the sidechain on the stock compressor in Ableton, when using it, can you turn off the compressor so it uses sidechain? Yeah, when you use the sidechain, the compressor automatically doesn't actually compress anything as far as I know. It only does it only does the side chaining. Nice to see you back as well, VL. I don't see why it doesn't really have sub here. Is there any automation that is different here? The pitch is the same. And this is just that. Now it works. Somehow also everything is popping a little bit. I think this reactor thing uses a lot of CPU. But yeah, I can render it out now. That's another nice thing when you have a return channel. You can render your stuff out without having to worry about the sidechain affecting the sound, because it's being sent through the processing channel first, right? And now I just have to send this sound through the bass processing channel again, and then it'll also be sidechained. Why is it still popping? I guess I have to delete this channel or keep it frozen. I should have rendered it without the reverbs on it so that I can mess with it a bit more. Let me turn those off and then do that again. Alright, and now I'll get those reverbs back. Here we go. Now freeze this again. It is deactivated. And Abbas Ahmed says, I like your shirt. Thank you. I hope I said your name right. The sub is very weird in this. I guess I can, it's only this one where the sub is weird, so I guess I can get it from here. It still happens. Is it the side chaining? Let's see. Maybe I didn't set it up right. It seems to be at 0 almost whenever it's not being played. See how it's stuck like here when it's not playing? That's like the initialized position. How do I change it? Can I even change it? Note retrade. Reverb on sub is a yes. It doesn't, I mean, those reverbs both have low cuts, so it's whatever. But if I wanted to avoid it, I can put them, whoops, did not mean to press that button. I could put them both on the, in here as instead, on the mids and highs channel, like this. But yeah, the sub thing definitely has to do with this LFO tool. I don't see what's wrong though. Why is it not starting at the very beginning? Let me load one of the ones that I usually use. It still does it. Maybe I just need to make the MIDI notes a little longer. It seems to not run through all the way. Jub is here, and he says it sounds naughty, so Jub approved. Delete and re-add LFO tool. I guess I could try it. I'll try the VST version instead of the AU version. That seems to have fixed it. What? Yeah, now it works just fine. That's so weird. Let's try stretching this. Yeah, shout out as a thanks to Abbas Ahmet. Tell me if I pronounce your name right. But it must be because the AU version that I put instead of the VST. But yeah, Ableton, the stretching stuff is amazing. And Tesco says, love that you're doing these streams, dude. Thanks. Of course. I love doing this. It's so much fun to talk and have you guys bring me new ideas for like how to process my sounds. Because sometimes when I'm alone, like I don't know what to add on a sound and I kind of get a little bit frustrated. And when you guys are there and you like have suggestions or you give me like a random idea like, what about distortion? I'm like, hey, yeah, let's try it, and then it's cool. It works out. I could pitch this around a little bit. Did I use Ableton for the Havoc remix? Yes, I did. Accurate pronunciation, Abbas Ahmet. Abbas Ahmet? What drums did I layer? I layered a bunch of claps that I got from Splice. I'm glad you liked the Havoc remix, Kazimiya. It was nice to like mess with that old song and see what I could do with it. And I think the result is pretty nice. And yeah, I'm glad you like it. I need to EQ this sound differently because it has more high frequencies now. Or maybe turning it down would do the job. Maybe I'll still do this and send it into the send again. And put some more effects on this. Usually when I use vocoder, I process it. I do parallel processing. Just because the vocoder takes away so many of the frequencies. Do I still have my first project files? No, I don't. They must be somewhere in Germany on like an old hard drive, but yeah, I don't have them here at all. I don't even think I have them still there. Did I end up finishing the track that I made on the last stream? No, I didn't. I worked on it like a tiny bit, but I thought I wanted to finish it on another stream. It's just that this stream is meant as a Patreon stream, so I'm focusing on the people that subscribed through my Patreon, and next time I'm gonna go back to the other track. Okay, so I would say that was a nice sound design session, and I enjoyed this and I like the outcome. I'm gonna work on it a bit more, but right now I think we should move on with our schedule for today. So let's close this back out. And let's go. And what was the next thing on the schedule? I think listening to the Wiggum track. Yes, he sent it on Patreon. So I'm gonna go there. Give me a second. If I can find it. Yes, there it is, there it is. It is a collab with The Fugitives. And I hope you can hear it. Oh yes, and it's definitely too loud. This is really well produced. I think the flow is really sick, and I think the drums are clipping just slightly too much. I would turn it down just a tiny bit. But other than that, really sick track, and I think the sub is well balanced in comparison to the synth. Like the levels are all sounding good.
Check one, check two.
Maybe at this point the synth gets a little bit too loud. And this riser synth is definitely too loud. But this switch is so sick. I like that. And now the next one is Excentra, Hollow Point. It's loading. gave you feedback for this one before. If I remember correctly, and what I still think are things that could be worked on. I really like the Spas influence, and like, because I'm a huge fan of Spas, and the synth is nice, but I think it's a little bit too wide, so it kind of like sounds a bit washed out because of that. And I would maybe also make the LFO sound a bit more defined, like it sounds a little bit like mushy, like I don't know how to describe it. Maybe like, it feels like there's let me think. What would I do with it? Probably make the LFO hits a little bit shorter, like a bit more snappy, and then fill it up with reverb a little bit, especially in the switch. It's the transients that are kind of it's kind of like there's not enough silence for the noise to be impactful, if that makes sense. So I would create a little more space in general, a little more of a feel for space, like a bit more emptiness, and fill it up with very subtle reverbs and stuff like that. And maybe also put a kick that has a bit more punch to it. This one sounds like a very like real kick, like from an actual drum set, but I feel like it's missing a little bit of that like sub-frequency punch. But yeah, those are just some ideas. And let's go to the second drop, because you said we should listen to that. Oh, that synth and the modulation is really sick. And as also like the little sounds that are in here that are like dum, dum, dum. That's really cool. That's something subtle that gives it a nicer flow. I like that. Alright, now we wanted to look at an old project file. Which song should I load up? Oops. That was the wrong scene. Let's see. Stretch! I guess I can show something that I made in Reason. Let's see. For example, the Sectum Sempra. Oh, Ice Cream, I made it in Ableton. But in Reason, I made a couple tracks like Sectum Sempra. The Elephant was also Reason. 8-bit Invasion special version. That's way too old. I don't have the file of that anymore. Activated, that was FL Studio, but it's also too old. I don't have the file anymore. Rapper Projectile, same thing. They're all in FL Studio, and I made them back in Germany on my old computer, so I don't have those files anymore. With the elephant, it was interesting because I used the grain synthesizer in Reason. If it does load eventually. Here we go. Oh, of course the main one sound that we need is missing for the grain synthesizer. Which is a sound that I loaded. Maybe I can find it. Combinator 1 bounced 3. No, I can't find it. I don't know where it is. But yeah, so I used the grain synthesizer to create that weird like long bass. And grain is basically kind of like form. It's a sample based synthesizer. And yeah. So this file is actually relatively organized. So I have the super patch, which is the synth. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have the wave files anymore that I used for the synths. But other than that, for the kick, I just used... Oh, we can't hear anything. I hope it's gonna work. Oh no. Hold on. I need to reconfigure OBS. I hope it didn't crash. Everything is stuck. I don't know if it's still streaming. This is awkward. I guess I just have to wait a little bit. Here we go. Okay, now let's see if it works. It doesn't come out through the stream for some reason. Okay, I guess I can open a file in Ableton like Casimir was asking for ice cream. I can open the ice cream project. Let me close Reason. If I can find it among all these. There it is, ice cream. Here we go. We don't have sound once again. That sucks. Do you wish to remove internal sound? No. Let's try to set this up again. Why is this happening again? OBS sometimes is not that great. Let me try to add it back in again. Audio input capture. Sunflower. Okay. I don't know what to do. I know you can't hear it. I don't know how to fix it though. It was working the whole time, and then because I opened Reason, it stopped working. Oh, I think I know what it is. It might be in my audio MIDI setup. No. This is set right. If I do this, does it come out? Whoops. No. Reason. Why are you doing this? Why did you do this? Should I restart Ableton? Should I try to play a song? No, it's not that either. It's definitely putting it out. It must be OBS's fault. Now it's stuck again. Okay. I guess if you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. while everything is not working. Let's try again. It just doesn't. Have no clue. OBS, you're annoying. I'm not hearing much. Yeah, that's because it doesn't pick up the internal audio anymore, and I'm trying to fix it, but it doesn't do anything, unfortunately. I'm trying to remove the internal sound capture thing and putting it back in. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, I guess I would have to restart the computer or something. Is Panda Eyes a drug addict? I don't think so, no. Not that I know of. Restart OBS. Yeah, but if I restart OBS, I have to stop the stream. So I guess we will have to skip this step. I guess I can show it without audio. Or I can do it in the next stream and go through the ice cream thing, the ice cream project. Basically though, what I did was, it was a serum synth, a very simple settings, I think. Oh, this is just the sub. Yeah, it was a serum synth in here. This one. It was just a square wave with a bit of distortion, and then the rest is all effects. Like there was a phaser. What's this? Nothing. A chorus. A vocoder, saturator, a bit of EQing, and then a delay. And then I rendered it out, and I stretched things around. And that's how basically I made the sound, by stretching the sound and then putting some more effects on it, like another vocoder, another saturator, some chorus, some EQing, filters, multi-band dynamics. That's it. That's how I made the sound. And then, yeah, Tesco audio preferences in Ableton doesn't make a difference, because it's definitely OBS's fault, because it's definitely outputting it through the right channel. I already checked it and tried it, and the internal sound in general just doesn't work. But yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, drum wise I've used, I don't even know, some old samples. Yeah, you can't hear it, but they were, I don't know, they were probably Splice samples. I don't remember where I got them from. And they have some effects on it, like the clap, for example. It has is very short, and then it has a Valhalla frequency echo on it, which is a really nice free plugin. Then there's a compressor on it, and I've put multi-band dynamics on all the drums together to make them stand out a little bit more. On the hats there's only a glue compressor. On the kick there's a drum bus where I just boosted the transients a little bit and put a little drive on it, and that's it. Then there's a ride which has almost nothing on it, and a lot of samples. And then there's this 808 sound for the intro, a lot of ambient samples, and all the samples are from Splice. That chorus looks cheeky. This one here? Basically, I don't... Yeah, it's actually only to make it sound a little bit more stereo, I believe. But it's... it makes it a bit more metallic because it's set to 13.8 milliseconds. And the modulation is off, so that it just gives it that nice metallic sound. And yeah. Okay, so the next step, the next thing on the schedule is how to make the most amazing sandwich, because Dylan requested it, I guess. So let's make a sandwich. It's actually not the most amazing one because I don't have the most amazing ingredients here, but it'll still be good. So let's, first of all, little toilet break and drink some water, and then I'll be back and I'll bring some ingredients and we'll put a sandwich together. I'll be right back. back. Let's do this. Let me get some good old bread. Okay, guys, the sandwich is cancelled because all I have is bread and hummus. And my girl made made some lunch for me yesterday, which I can eat today. So I will eat that instead. Yeah, what else should we do? I have my fingerboard. We can try doing a kickflip. Oh. No. No. There it is. I haven't fingerboarded in a long time. Yes. I better stop now. Hummus is very good. It's made of chickpeas and tahini, and this one is red pepper flavored, which is my favorite flavor. It smells good. It smells like garlic as well. And yeah, so to bring this to an end, no, to find a conclusion for this, once again, thank you guys so much for the support on Patreon. This stream is specifically for my Patreon supporters. I just had to make it public because Unlisted wouldn't let them join the stream for some reason. But yeah, I appreciate the support very much, and as I said in the beginning, it helped me a ton with being able to pay for rent and everything. And even now, it's just really comforting to have a little bit of consistent income every month when the income I get from music is so inconsistent. And yeah, I have very much love for you guys. Very, yeah. If you have some more questions, feel free to ask. If you don't want me to go. What do I think about leaking plates and playing them? Well, so like, I think leaking, the people who leak plates, I don't get the point of it. But on the other hand, I personally don't get upset because I know that those tracks that I only get upset when it's tracks that I only send to friends, because then I obviously would expect them not to send it to anyone. But if it's a track that I like back in the days when I was still selling tracks, like when I sold it to someone and then it got around and like someone leaked it somewhere, like it was my own fault in a way because I sold the track, so I can't like expect it to be exclusive forever. But now like the way I give away my tracks now is either I give them away through my Patreon, and there, if they're leaked, then there's nothing I can do. And the other way is to only send my tracks to good friends of mine and friends that I trust that wouldn't leak it. So yeah, I think it sucks for the producers when tracks get leaked, but there's always people like that out there, and you just have to be careful with who you send your tracks to, I guess. And that's it. And about playing leaked plates, I don't know. I mean, on one hand, like if I really like a track and it gets leaked and the producer like never ends up releasing them, then it's sad, but I still feel bad about playing it myself because it was leaked. So I don't really have an answer for you. Like, some people get upset when you play leaked plates, which I don't really understand. Like, I guess it would technically be supporting the leaker, but at the same time it's not, because you're actually supporting the artists who made the track, so I don't know. Yeah. Muramasa, I will release it. Maybe? You'll see. I have some plans. That much I can say. But that's all I can say. Any plans on going to Bootshaus Cologne this year? I don't think so. I'm playing the INFEKT XL in Cologne, but I don't think there will be a Bootshaus booking. Maybe. I would like to. I've only heard good things about it. I remember my first booking ever was in Cologne, and I took a train which was like 5 hours from the city where I'm from, and yeah, it was sick. It was at the Odonian. How old am I? I'm 22. Do I listen to Illenium? I don't know who Illenium is, to be honest, but I am open to checking him out. And when am I coming to Amsterdam? I don't know either. I only have Rampage and then 3 more Europe bookings, but neither one of them is in the Netherlands. There's 1 Switzerland, 1 Germany, and 1 France. I have heard of Uzbekistan, yes. And Dapkill, I'm doing well. How are you? And I think I'm gonna end the stream soon anyway. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned from it, or you had fun. Maybe it was entertaining to hear me talk, and at the end just ramble for another half hour or something. But yeah, Tesco is asking, what's the biggest difference culture-wise between Canada or the US and Germany, and would I move back? I don't like about the US that everybody seems to be so wasteful, and like I also don't like the food regulations because in Europe I felt like the food regulations were a lot better, so like you would get like more quality food, especially also like let's say you go grocery shopping and you get a soda in Germany. I don't drink sodas anymore, but even something as bad as sodas in the US, it's even worse than in Germany just because it has like a lot of stuff that isn't allowed in Germany to put it in those drinks, like the high fructose syrup and stuff like that, and all the candy stuff that has like weird chemicals in it that are not legal in Germany, or at least they don't use it. So that's one factor. Yeah, it's a different, like, it is different because it seems like everything in the US is so big and it can be really intimidating. And yeah, I don't like there's part of the lifestyle that I just don't like because of all the fast food and all the like the way everybody seems to be kind of lazy in a way. Like everybody is going for that like instant gratification, and obviously there are good people, tons of good people, but there are also like a lot of those people that just like go to McDonald's because they don't want to like cook a meal, like go to McDonald's like 5 times a week and stuff, which I don't really approve of that. But I mean, if that's something you're into, it's fine. It's just like not very good for you, and it's not something that on the long run is sustainable for your health. And I don't know why people are still surprised that like cancer rates and stuff like that is so high in the US, because it only makes sense, you know. I don't know. Like for example, in Asia, they mainly eat rice and veggies and like small portions of meat, and they have like a lower cancer rate there. Yeah, I don't know. But I still like it here and in the US, and there are a lot of things that are amazing about it. And about going back to Germany, I guess like it depends on how the shows go. Like my visa is for 2 more years, and if I have enough shows to stay around here, I would love to. And the shows here, of course, are amazing compared to the shows in Europe. I mean, it's just like bigger, and there are more people in the US that are into it, and there are all those festivals and stuff. So this is definitely the place to be for dubstep and rhythm. So yeah, I'm gonna see how long it works out, and Germany is a nice place, so eventually I would definitely move to a bigger city than where I'm from, but yeah. INFEKT is the name. Well, the way I came up with it is I was in high school looking for a new name because my name was Red Drop before that, and I thought it was kind of cheesy to have drop in your name, so I wanted to change it, and I thought of INFEKT randomly. I don't know why. And I asked some friends what they think about it, and they thought it was better than Red Drop, so I kept it. That's it. I was really young. And the word INFEKT, yeah, it's just, the K is because in German it's with a K. That's true, Casimir. How long do I grow my hair? As in, like, how long I want to grow it, or how long it's been growing? I don't remember when was the last time I cut it, but probably maybe 2 years and a little bit more. I mean, I always like trim it underneath here, so trim the sides and the back, and just keep the top growing out. Just because this way I can nicely like either wear buns or like hide it under a hat like that. And wear a hat. See? Looks like I have short hair, but I don't. Channels for music production on YouTube. I would recommend the Disciple channel first of all. They have good videos. There was a new video from Dodge and Fusky on there recently that was really well done in my opinion. It was like 5 mistakes that beginners make, and I think it was inspirational even now, even as an intermediate or something, someone who's like not a beginner anymore. But yeah, other than that, there are so many really good channels out there. It's just hard for me to come up with names when I'm thinking about it like this, but let's see. I can check my YouTube history and see what I've been watching. How did I come up with the K? It's just in German, the German word. How old was I when I got my first booking? Yeah, 16 or 17. Okay. History. I watch Anthony Fantano a lot. He has some really good reviews of music, of like when I want to watch like rap reviews and stuff like that. And he's just a really nice guy, and I enjoy like just watching him talk. What else? Dylan Tallchief is pretty good. He makes a lot of interesting videos, and I think he makes dubstep tutorials as well. I haven't watched any in a while. I watch a lot of videos about like the newest phones that are coming out and stuff like that. Ned Rush had a new video about the new features in Ableton, which was pretty interesting, because some of those new features are really sick in the new beta version. Do I watch Moonboy? Occasionally. Can I send you that hummus, Kazumia? No, I would like to consume it myself. I've been watching a lot of videos about photo editing and video editing as well. And then there is someone who makes like old school dubstep tutorials in Reason called Lucky Date videos. Those are probably a couple years old. His tutorials were in Reason 4.0, but it was just really interesting to learn how they made the sounds back then. Tesco is saying, on the topic of food, my favorite go-to meal or snack when I don't have time to cook. I like nuts, raw nuts especially, like cashews, almonds, peanuts, all that is very good. I like vegan granola bars, like the Cliff bars. There are a bunch of other brands that are vegan. Protein bars can be pretty good because they're very filling. And then obviously apples and fruits in general, like you can eat a ton of fruits. Like literally you can pretty much, it's impossible to eat too much fruit. Like you can eat 5 apples and 5 bananas and then 2 mangoes, bunch of blueberries and blackberries, and yeah. Then I like making sandwiches that are pretty quick, like just bread, hummus, lettuce, tomatoes, vegan sausages or something, and some vegan cheese or whatever. Yeah. Kazimiet says he's in a Dylan Tall Chief video. I want to see that. And my girl is at work, so I'll give her love when she's back. Kazimiet. And attention. Oh, she texted me, that's why. Did she text you as well? But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you very much for watching again. And thank you for subscribing on Patreon, everyone. Nothing but love. Goodbye. Have a good day.